Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Job, and today I'm here with WCVB news reporter and anchor. Please welcome Jessica Brown.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here with you.
And Jessica, let's dive right in. Talk about your upbringing, and you growing up.
So, growing up, I'm from South Florida originally, born and raised. Grew up in a family, two brothers. I have an older sister who lives in Connecticut now. It was great. Completely different than living in New England. My parents, they're both, my dad is Jamaican, my mom's Afro-Costa Rican. They're New Yorkers as well. So we always
Okay.
had a love of the Northeast. I feel like South Florida is a land of all East Coast folks who
Sounds like
just
they're used to
wanted
the
to
warm
get warmth.
weather. Sounds
That's
like,
exactly it. That's
yep.
exactly it. So I've always had a love for the Northeast. I always knew I'd end up there in that area. So now I'm in Boston. I went to college at Florida State as well, and I've been moving north ever since. It seems like.
As you were growing up, was there any like hobbies, anything that you kind of got into growing up?
So I was into sports, track. I was into music. I did piano. I wanted to do what the boys were doing. I grew up with my brothers, and I wanted to hang with them.
Okay.
I was also a really nosy kid. I was always the kid that was getting in trouble in class for talking,
Mm.
which makes sense now.
Yeah.
As an adult. But that's really what it is. I wanted to hang out with my brothers, and so that meant running around, climbing trees, playing video games, being nosy with my dad. My dad was a big newsie, so I became,
Okay.
loved, stories. I like to be where the story is. Mm-hmm.
And you spoke about your dad with the news and everything like that. Did he also kind of like have you watch a lot of news? Because I know my parents like they made me watch the news as well growing up.
My dad is a big news junkie. So growing up, that was, if you spending time with my dad we'd watch the news. We'd also like watch boxing. That was also his thing. But yeah, I mean, he's always still to this day, he's just a newsy guy. And I don't know, and it always was around. It was always on. So I always appreciated it. Mm-hmm.
Now, as you started to go to college, you said you went to Florida State. What did you go to college to study for?
So I was in school for communications, also sociology. And, I kind of went that same route. I was trying to figure out where I would kind of land. When you're in college, you meet some kids who know everything. They know exactly what they want to be and how from when they were 12, 13, 14. Not so much me. In college, it was a great place for me to figure out who I was, right? I got to be amongst different types of people. And then one day, I think there was a news anchor had come. She actually was teaching classes, but she happened to join our class for that day. And I was intrigued. I was into that. But I didn't know how does one even get involved? And I don't know what came over me, but I got ballsy and I asked her if I could shadow her one day, and she said I could. And I was like, oh. So I went to her station, WCTV in Tallahassee.
Okay.
And ever since then, it was like tunnel vision for me. I knew I wanted to be in a newsroom. I loved how fast it was, how loud it was, how chaotic it was. I
Very
loved it.
chaotic. That's what I've been
It's
hearing a lot
very,
from a lot of reporters.
it is, but I loved it. I loved that no day was the same. It just, I felt a rush, I felt an excitement, and I love to be where the story is. And she really inspired me. And just being in that room
Mhm.
really inspired me. So after that, I knew exactly where I wanted to go.
But in the back of your head, did you maybe kind of feel like this might be my path, or was you just kind of were in college just trying to figure it out and try to like maybe try new things? And were you also maybe playing sports in college too?
I wasn't playing sports in college. I wasn't that good. Um, Gotta
Hey,
be
me
real,
too. Me too. I
right,
played
right, right.
sports. I played sports my whole life. College, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to make one decision, and that's it.
Listen, it wasn't meant to be, but my brother, he did sports in college. But when I kind of knew there's something in this lane. I was interested in radio too at the time. I would intern. My cousin at the time was this big radio guy, and
So it sounds
so
like you had that connection with like news and stuff.
I had that connection with like media, and I loved I just loved telling stories. I don't know. I liked something about it just drew me in. I didn't know in what lane. Did I want to write and just, be a writer? I didn't really fully grasp what that was until I went into that newsroom.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure yet. And I think this is important because I think there's a lot of, when you're in college, I say this because I'm rambling, because my nephew, he was so intimidated when he first visited a college because he's like, I don't know what I want. I said, that's okay. It's okay to not know
It takes time
exactly.
sometimes. Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time sometimes. And, there's some people who know from when they're 5 years old, and there's some people who figure it out later. And that's okay.
And just like you said too, like sometimes you might go in for one thing but come out with something else.
100%. Mm-hmm.
So you said that you had that person that you shadowed. What was her name again?
Her name was Tristan Sanders.
Tristan
Tristan
Sanders. Okay.
Sanders. Yep. And
Would you say she kind of like was, I want to say, like the starting point of you like really starting to tap in and start like getting into this new space?
1000%. She showed me the whole world. And so I started shadowing her more. I couldn't even believe that you could just shadow people at the time. Like I thought that was a really bold move for someone so young
I
and
know
didn't
now
know
it's the
what
thing.
they were doing. But I knew then, so I used to ask her. She became a mentor of sorts at the time.
Mm.
And I started to ask her kind of what to do, what not to do, how to get in. And I started really laser focusing in on how to get involved. I was taking the right courses. I was trying to do internships. I was trying to get my foot in the door and learn. I did the broadcast at Florida State. You have the college broadcast. I
Okay,
was
okay.
trying to learn how all of the pieces worked. I just wanted to understand how everything flowed in a newscast. So that's how it started for me. Yeah.
And I feel like that's great too, like having her as a mentor. Because for even for myself, like just even starting up these podcasts that I do, like here at Access, like Steve came into my class last year, and I literally same thing like you, just walked over because I already knew him and I seen him on TV with the sports and everything like that, and I was like, you know what? Let me just walk up to him and see like if he would be willing to come in for an interview. Didn't have no experience, nothing, and then fast forward was able to interview, and this that like that also kind of like what you said, like started my path to really be like, okay, this is something that I know I want to be in.
That's right. Good for you. You have to be bold. I tell like anybody trying to do anything, you have to don't be afraid to ask because they asked at one point.
Mm.
They were the ones, hey, so you'll be surprised at the response if you ask. I got bolder after that. After I did mine, I got even
Yeah.
bolder. So, it's good.
Okay. So now with taking all these internships, what do you feel like now? Like, kind of was like your big break now, getting into into the news field or broadcasting as well.
So I will never forget when I first got out of college. Um, I had a resume tape, you know, uh, was it a DVD at the time or was it a tape? I don't know. I'm not that old, but it was a DVD at the time, I think it was. But I
Okay.
remember
Okay.
driving around every small town in that area, from Tallahassee to Panama City to like all
Wow.
over the place, trying to get a job or trying to get my first opportunity. I would have done anything like writing or assignment. I just wanted to get in,
Okay.
and I failed. I did not get a job. My tapes were terrible. I could not get in. I'll never forget meeting people, shaking. I would be bold. I don't know where I got. I'm not as bold as I think I used to be, but I was so bold. I'd be like, "Can I come in and shake your hand and you can take a look at my resume tape?" And they would allow me to come. They would shake my hand. They would sit me down, watch my tape in front of me. I'd be sweating, and
Yes.
they would
I'd be
literally
nervous too. I'd be
nervous.
nervous too. Yep.
And I'll never forget this one news director. This is probably TMI. He had a stack of tapes or DVDs that were trash that he said were a no. And
All
he had like a
yours?
stack. They weren't mine, but he
Oh.
basically let me know that mine was going to go in that
Oh.
pile. And I remember being like stabbing up, like, oh my, I mean, like
Yeah.
ruthless.
Yeah.
And but I went around and I went to different places and I did not land a job. And I was like, what do I do? College was kind of ending. I went back to South Florida for a summer and I made a game plan that I needed to get back into a internship. Oh, I got a new mentor. There was a
Okay.
woman I used to admire all the time in Miami, and she became my biggest mentor. Her name was Kristen Anderson. It's now Kristen Smith. And I reached out to her because I was bold at the time. And she was like, here's my number. And she would tell me, you need to get back in there and get an internship and make that, like, hustle that, make that like a job and learn as everything that you can and be more intentional about your resume tape. And so I was like, okay, I got to find a way to get back into an internship. So I moved to Atlanta. Again, bold back then.
I know, moving, especially moving around too. I'm hearing that you've been moving. Yeah.
Yeah, you move around. I moved to Atlanta. I had a cousin who lived there, and I got in with this broadcasting program there that allowed for an internship. And I interned at the Fox affiliate in Atlanta, and I got my internship there somehow. I don't know how it just worked out. And I made that like a priority. I learned everything. I asked everybody everything. I did every shift. I really became like part of that newsroom that they hired me
Okay.
within a few months to be a newsroom assistant. So I would go around and I would rip scripts for the anchors and I would follow these folks. And I learned there, I was like, oh, I would love to do morning shows. I love how the fun balance and all of that, and became friends with the talent and learned all the business, got to see amazing guests and I got to write for shows. I loved it. But they weren't going to, I mean, I was looking for my first on air job as a reporter. When am I going to get it? By now, I have a good resume tape. I've been out with
Exactly.
these reporters.
Yep.
My mentor is coaching me up. She's telling me, cut this, add that, do that. You know, she's helping me out. And eventually, I want to say 6 months after the newsroom assistant job, I got a call for a reporter job in Joplin, Missouri.
Wow. So
Where's Joplin,
relocating
Missouri?
again.
Yeah. I was like, Joplin, Missouri, where, what? And I got on the call and she's like, I see so much potential. We have an opportunity for a general assignment reporter. It's in Joplin, Missouri. If you're interested, you would start within like 3 weeks, some short window.
Yeah.
I was so determined and hungry at the time.
Oh,
I did
100%,
it.
especially to relocate and everything like that. Like, but to not to cut you off, but let's go back a little bit because
Oh,
like,
sorry. Yeah.
what's the mindset, especially knowing that like you said, like everything's going well, you're at Florida State, about to graduate, get
Yeah.
your little internships, you're building up your resume, of course, but it doesn't fall through, and now you might have to even go back. Like, what's kind of the mindset there? Like, are you questioning yourself? Are you like, I don't know if this is for me? Maybe I should go back home, or maybe I should try to figure out something else? Like, what was kind of the mindset for you at that time?
You know, clearly I was disappointed, right? Like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to happen for me. I mean, when you're young and you feel like you're doing all the right steps and it's not working, it's scary. But I just felt so determined. I don't know. I felt determined, and that I just felt like, again, I had that tunnel vision and I didn't know how I was going to move forward in that way, but I knew that I would. So when I moved down, before I even moved back to South Florida, I
Hmm.
was already trying to figure out my next step because I was
Okay.
afraid to fall back into just, sometimes you go back to the familiar, you lose sight of the vision, right? The
Yeah.
goal. And
Yeah.
I really wanted to have a step already in place before I went back. So
Okay.
I started researching. I already had my new mentor I was in communication with. And I saw this program that somebody mentioned in Atlanta. And I said, that's my target. And so I called them. I wanted to know how much it costs. What can I do? I found out how much it costs. So when I moved down to South Florida, I had a amount in mind I needed to have so I can move to Atlanta. I had already
Okay.
called my cousin. I had already had a plan. My Jamaican father, on the other hand, was not
He wasn't with it?
comfortable. No, I mean, it's not typical. I think he thought I was going to come down to South Florida and stay forever, right?
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
I had other plans. So
Mm.
I went to work and
How was
sat.
that conversation though? How was that with the like telling him like, hey, as much as you want me to stay here, I gotta go. Like I gotta go see this too because this is for me. This is what I'm passionate about.
You know what? He didn't believe that I would.
Really?
He didn't believe that I would because he at that point you're young, you're so young and you haven't really they know you, but they don't really know how you are as as an adult on your own in that way. They see you as maybe younger.
They see you as a
And I
little
think
girl growing up, like they see you as that, but they don't know that
right,
like no, like it's always I've been working hard, like I'm ready.
exactly. Exactly. So I think for me, it's funny over the years how much now he doesn't, I'm grown. It's been many, many years, but it's so funny now. He knows when I say something, I will do it, like he knows me in that way. But I think it took a lot of those moments of me just betting on myself and
Yes.
determined enough to do what I want that he knows I'm just a determined person, I think.
Oh,
And
100%. I can see it already. I
yeah,
can see it
I just
already just
was.
from
I
the
had
story.
that
That determination,
thing.
yes.
Yeah. And I was very fearless, back then too. I would just go for things.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from, but I just would. And so when I was determined, he didn't think I would leave because now I'm just living my life in South Florida. I'm going to work. I'm doing my thing. And then one day I had my my money ready to go. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be out of here in 2 weeks. And he just, he couldn't, he was really shocked by that, but I was very determined. And he, was like, oh, okay, I guess. And I went and I did my thing and it worked out. I had a
Wow.
backup job there. I was very planned out. And then I got that internship and everything kind of went according to plan somehow.
Yeah. And then
Mhm.
even so, back to your story now. You said you're now in Missouri, right?
I went to Joplin, Missouri, and
Yeah.
that was scary. That was scary. That was a big, I don't know a soul in Missouri. Not one person I know in Missouri.
No
No one.
family, no nothing.
Nothing. And going there, I remember my parents came with me, even looking around, there was no one that looked like me at the time, like I remember being like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I think I was one of the first Black folks at this new station,
Wow.
like it was very much like, so I didn't know how it would go. It ended up being a life-changing place for me. So you never know. One thing about this business, I know a lot of people will say like, oh, you have to move around like it's a bad thing. For me, it was a great thing. It was hard, but it
Oh,
really
100%.
shows you what you're made of. And you come across people you typically wouldn't. You learn so much about different places that you would never, that you think you might know what it's like, but you really come to an understanding of communities,
Hmm.
of different places. I have so much respect and love for all these communities that I've gotten to a chance to experience, including Missouri. So,
Now,
mhm.
after Missouri, now, did you start to branch your way back up north, or were you still kind of like relocating to other sites as well?
So I kept going north. From Missouri, I went to Ohio, and
Okay.
then and then Ohio was there for 10 years. But in Missouri, um, you know, I don't know if you're aware, we had that. It was such a pivotal part of my journey anyway, because at the time we were there, we had that crazy rare, one of the biggest tornadoes in history wipe out half the town. And it was
I think I did
super
hear about that with
dramatic.
you. I think I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. So, and we were there for that. And half of our staff lost their homes, including me.
Wow.
And it was such a crazy experience to be reporting on, hey, this is where you need to go to get help and then get in line after work to get the help, like this
Mm.
is where you go to. It was such a crazy experience to live through and to be a part of. But I will tell you, I learned so much about community in
Yes.
Joplin, Missouri. So I I have so much love for that community. I mean, I felt like they really embraced me for someone who's not from there
Hmm.
to cover me in the way that they did. I always have great things to say about Joplin, Missouri. you know?
But even though with like that happening, like you said, like tornado, losing your home, especially you're young and you don't know anybody there. Obviously, you made friends, but like
Yeah.
still, like you're on your own. Was there any type of fear, like maybe I don't know, maybe I should go back, stay close more to home, like because you said like you obviously you went to Ohio, but
Yeah.
in that moment, did you ever question like maybe I should go back home?
Oh, yeah. Actually, some of our staff, I'll never forget, coming out of my apartment complex that got destroyed. One of my colleagues was at the station at the time and came back to see his place completely gone. And I
Oh my
never saw him
gosh!
again after that. I saw him come
Wow.
back crying, and I never saw him again. It's like I've never met him. I have never seen him
Wow.
again ever since that moment. And I don't blame him. It was such a traumatic experience. It was really, really a lot. But at the time, I don't know what it was for me. I didn't know what I was going to do at the
Hmm.
time. And then eventually I got a rental car and I went to go back to the station. And that's when I learned that so many people, some people were living there at the station, some people lost their homes. And just some of the faces and people I came across in my apartment complex who felt like so lost. And so I don't know, I felt so compelled to help in some way. I don't know
Okay.
what it was. It was very weird because you would
Hmm.
think I would, but I felt so compelled to do something. So I didn't know that I was going to stay, but I knew I wanted to do something in the just for the time being.
Yeah.
And a colleague of mine said I could stay with her. So I did. So at that time, I just felt like, what can we do? So while the
Yeah.
national media is there just telling, the crazy stories of what happened, we were there to tell people where to go to get the help, where to get how to find this person, and I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt compelled to do something about it. And then a week turned into 2 weeks and it turned into months and it turned into staying
Well, I
there.
mean, yeah, you've already been there and like you've already met some of those people. So of course it's and now seeing this, it's like you're gonna feel compelled, like you said, to at least help them out.
Right. I felt compelled to do something, and I'm glad I stayed. It actually showed me again, um, like what happens when you push past a little fear, like really incredible things can come on the other side of it. I mean, listen, I have PTSD from that. I still have, I'm not going to lie to you now. Okay.
Even here
I
in the
don't
Northeast.
like tornadoes. I don't like tornado. When I see tornado watch or warning, I am not playing around. Like I call the meteorologist and I'm like, do I need to be where do I need to be? Because I don't, it was a lot to see and a lot to experience, but I don't know, something about, uh, I'm glad I stayed. I am.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now you said getting to Ohio. So you said you've been there for 10 years, right?
I was in Cincinnati for about 10 years. Yeah.
10 years. Okay. So what is something that you maybe feel like, okay, now like you're in a more grounded area, you've been there for 10 years. What are some things that you kind of feel like you learned and that even maybe improved in your time there broadcasting?
Cincinnati, I feel like I grew up in Cincinnati. Um, I did. Like I thought I was going to be there for 2 years and leave. That's what I
Mm.
thought. Or 3 years or something like that. I thought that was going to be it. But I got my morning show opportunity. That was the goal when I was interning in Atlanta. I loved the morning show. I got my morning show opportunity in Cincinnati, and I loved it. And it was hard. I feel like I learned how to be a better journalist by far. I learned everything that I needed to learn. I did every kind of show.
So this is
I
where you're harnessing your craft. This is where you're really getting it
truly,
settled. Okay.
truly seasoning there. Like that's how I felt. And not only seasoning there, at that point I had moved around quite a bit
Hmm.
that I didn't know what it was like to like stay in a place so long, right? Like for a long period of time. I was so used to it. Like I was like, what's next?
But to be fair,
Like
though, it sounds like just from your story, it's like everywhere you've been going, you find some sort of connection that sticks with you.
it's true. 100%. But you're also less afraid to jump again.
Oh yeah,
You're okay to do it. Whereas the first time you do it, it's like a shock to the system.
yeah.
It's a lot. But in Cincinnati, I loved it. I feel like I became part of that community. I was there for so long that that is like a home to me now.
Mm.
Like I built amazing long life friendships, people who have been with me. My co-anchor from that from Cincinnati is still a close friend of mine. You know, we sat next to each other for 10 years. We know each other's business, you know, like,
Yeah. And you
so
guys
it's
got to
just,
grow together.
we grew up together. You know, him
Yeah.
and I know his entire family. Now his girls are going to college. I can't even, like, I knew
Oh
them
wow.
when they were 5 years old, you know? So
Okay,
it's like,
okay.
or seven, or they were little. And so it's like, I really feel like I grew up there, professionally and personally. I'm glad I I stayed. I was, you know, thinking that I would probably stay. I didn't know that I was going to be moving again, to be quite honest. I was really
I
settling
know you
in.
thought it was it, like, okay, like we're
I
here,
was
like
just,
we're good.
yeah, I was like kind of settling in. I was open to the idea of what's for me is for, open to the idea, but I was really settled. I was anchoring mornings. I was also hosting a lifestyle show. And if I was gonna go, it would have to be like something dreamlike for me, something that was like I couldn't say no to, kind of a
Mhm.
opportunity, because I was very, very content where I was. Hmm.
And I'm glad you said that because now, since you said it was something like maybe dreamlike or something that you
Yeah.
felt like you had to go, how do we get now from Ohio to right here in Boston?
So with Boston, again, love Boston. I love New England. I love the Northeast. That's always been something that I knew I wanted to end up in the Northeast at some point. I've
Yeah.
always had a love affair with the Northeast. You know, when you're from, I
Which
get
is
it.
surprising coming from the South.
Everyone
Because
says
usually it's
that,
the opposite.
but that's what folks, I think people from the Northeast want to go down to the South. And if you're born and raised in the South, you want to go to the Northeast.
Okay.
We appreciate seasons. You know, you're like, I'm over the seasons. We
Oh, I love my
appreciate
seasons.
that.
Love my seasons. Yep.
I love the seasons. I've come to appreciate that so much, because you don't get that in South. You
Hmm.
just don't get it. And I love the people. I love the walkable city. I just love that all the differences are the things I love about being in the Northeast for me. So, and I like being in a place where it's not doesn't take you long to get to another state. It
Yeah.
takes you like 15 hours to get out of Florida, you know? So just I like that. That's just my, so I've always known that I would love to end up in the Northeast. So when this one came around, it was a great opportunity. I love Boston. My sister lives in Connecticut. It's the job offer was like amazing. And this station is really a legacy station. They really are. They do such a amazing job. So if any place in Boston,
100%.
this is where I'd want to be. You know. So it
Hmm.
was kind of like a no-brainer. I have to go. And it was actually hard to leave. And that was
I
the
was just
first
about to ask
time.
that. Just about to ask.
Very hard to leave. Like I got weight, I was very comfortable. So
Hmm.
that's when I was like, man, am I getting old? Like it's hard for me to leave. Like,
I mean,
because I
10
wasn't,
years. 10
that's
years, hey.
why. And so much love, so it
Yeah.
was very hard for me to leave, but I really felt like it was meant for me. It was meant to be, and I listened to that nudge. So I took a leap, and I'm so glad I did. It's been amazing for me. It's been
And not
amazing.
even not even that, but like when you were young, you said it yourself too. Like the end goal though was to be in the Northeast. So as much as it was like Ohio, like I'm
Yeah,
good here, like
yeah,
comfortable. Obviously, like you said, like the end goal was to be in the Northeast.
yeah, 100%. And I feel like I just like all the cultures here. That reminds me of home. There's so many things for me that feel good here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great move for me. Hmm.
Now with you moving around everything, like going from whether it was Florida, Missouri, Atlanta, Ohio, like
Yeah,
everywhere. Like talk about also like the mental preparation because it's like again like relocation is not easy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you were by yourself.
correct. Um, I personally think the first moving to Atlanta was fine because it's Atlanta, and
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
right there,
like
of course. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, and I know people. But Missouri was especially hard because it was like a foreign place to me at the time. Like it was like I didn't know a soul in that state or in that region, like nothing. And I felt like I was definitely kind of sticking out in a lot of, I just felt not. But my mentor was really helpful, saying your first job is like kind of like camp. Like everybody there is not from like who you're going to work with. So many of them are going to be coming from elsewhere, just like you starting out. And those people you may end up being friends with for life
And
because they're
building that comfortability as well too.
everybody's kind of in it together.
Yeah.
And those people will become your friends. And the time really does fly. And you're so excited to be there because it's one thing to be like a journalist in theory and you do it in school. It's another thing to be hired for the role and to really do it for the like legit. It's hard, it's grueling, it's like an emotional roller coaster of learning your craft. But you do have to emotionally prepare, yes, to be alone.
And for
And
those tough
to,
times too, because you never know. Sometimes there's rough days. It's not going
oh
well.
yeah,
You're far from home, far from family. And then even like you said too, like your dad already said that, like, I don't know if like you should be going out, going to other states and everything like that too. But it's like, again, like it's this burden that you have. But the only thing that's keeping you going is that, like, this is for me and this is what I really want to do.
yeah. And you make the most of it, to be quite honest. Like along the journey, I've made amazing lifelong friends. You know what I mean? Like people that you maybe wouldn't have come across otherwise, you know? So I
Yeah.
do believe, and you learn so much about yourself.
Okay.
I really feel that. You learn so much about yourself. You're more capable than you realize, and you can do a lot more than you think. And for me, I hear, some people like that, they're really nervous about the move. But to me, it was such a life-changing experience. Like you have to get that experience once in your life. See what it really shapes you in a good way. I really
Yeah.
believe that. So I wouldn't trade it. Yes, it can be hard. Yes, it can be like you can feel alone at times. Um, and it's highly uncomfortable. Like you're never kind of, it takes a long time for you to get settled with the discomfort because you're always,
100%.
you get home, you're somewhere, you get home and you're comfortable. You feel your folks are not far. It's just something about that comfort or just knowing that people are there can calm you down, can bring you to a sense of peace. It's different when you're somewhere else and that's not there. You're having a hard day and you can't just pop by, your best friend from high school or your
I know exactly.
mom's
And there's no one really
house.
to call on. It's more just like what you have there
Yeah.
and just got to go with it.
Yeah. And you can call your loved ones. That helps. But um and you can visit them. And for me, I used to drive to Kansas City to get like a city that kind of reminds me of, things I
Reminds
was
you of
used to
home.
at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade it. I think it was a really great experience for me. Hard, but great.
And you
Mhm.
speak on loved ones too. So at what point would you say your father accepted the fact that, you know what, this was the right decision for you to do?
They accepted it pretty, I would say once Cincinnati came around.
I was about to say, I feel
I
like
think
Cincinnati.
they were like,
Cincinnati.
and they really have come to, well, at that time, they really learned to trust my decisions, right? Like they know that, okay, she's got it. She's got it. And it's scary when you're young, like your
Well,
parents are
of
going to
course.
worry for you, So
Not only
I
that,
can,
building that trust by like being away from family. That's different.
oh yeah. And but I think even I remember a cousin doubting me in Atlanta when I lived with him. And I remember I did this bold move because I had a job when I got to Atlanta. I'm sorry to jump all over the place. I had a job when I got to Atlanta and I quit the job so I could intern full time. And then I took like a night job somewhere else.
Hmm.
And he looked at me like I was insane. He looked at me like I was crazy. But I was covering all my bills and leaving money. I wasn't going to be, covering all my bills. I think I took some random job like whatever.
Like
I just took like
just a side
restaurant.
job,
Yeah,
part-time job.
any
Yeah.
yeah. And he looked at me like I was crazy for quitting that job because it was like a stable, sound job and to work for free essentially. And he um, he eventually, I would say about 1 or 2 years later, he was like, I'm so glad you didn't listen to me. You know what I mean? Like, cause it just worked. It worked out like everything. I didn't move to Atlanta to work in insurance. I moved to
Yeah.
Atlanta so I could, pursue my goal,
Do you feel like
you
it was
know?
motivation though? Because like you have all these people doubting you and especially close family. Do you feel like that was also a little bit of that motivation as well? Like, okay, like as much as I love this too now, I don't want to say I'll prove you wrong, but like,
Yeah, I did not find it motivational at the time because you doubt yourself. Like in hindsight, I was like, "Go, Jess." In hindsight, I'm like, I'm good for you. But when you're making it's always fun to watch somebody going through the journey. But when you're the one living it, it's
Mm,
so emotionally stressful. Because
yeah.
you don't know if you're making the right. So when somebody's doubting you that you love, it definitely raises the doubts more. Will this work for me? Am I making a good decision? But it really helped me trust my gut and just,
Mm,
I think all those doubters helped me trust my gut in the long term because it does get in your head, but you have to listen to yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because if
Hmm.
you don't trust in yourself, then obviously there wouldn't have been no Missouri, no Ohio, like nothing. Because again, it's like if you don't know what's for you, like no one will know.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer in do the thing you're going to least regret.
Yes.
Because not going for something or committing fully to see what's possible, I would have regrets for that. Like I wouldn't have regrets. Like I don't think me taking this insurance job, if I did, like I don't have regrets about not taking it. I can always get another job. So
Hmm.
I just always choose the thing you're going to have least regrets. I think people in life down the road, the only thing that bothers them are the things that they regret not doing. So
Mm,
I try to decide based on, am I going what would I have least regret about?
okay. And I love that. To shift a little bit, let's talk about like current stuff that you do now, especially working obviously at Channel 5, you on the morning. So like I said, saw you this morning. And then also I saw something that you do as well at the side. Like I see you do a lot of mentoring, especially with young upcoming girls. Like talk about that and what you do as well.
Yeah, I know. I love talking to young girls, who especially from all walks, but I really love like helping young girls see themselves
Hmm.
and help them achieve whatever they want. Like now, if there's a young girl who reaches out to me and is like, "Hey," same kind of email I've sent. I'm like, here's my number. Same way someone, my mentor Kristen said to me, I want to champion girls to believe in themselves and go for whatever it is that they want.
Mm,
Like get out of their own way and go for whatever it is that you want. And I don't know, that helped me in life. So I can help anybody else. I want young girls to win big. Everybody, but especially young girls.
and also, I see that you're a part of the National Black Association of Journalists. Talk
Yep.
about like kind of like you being a part of that and what that means to you.
So it's really a great organization. So when I first started in the business, I joined and it was amazing. I remember going to the conferences and being like, oh my God, like all your favorite people that and for me, I'm like a news nerd. So these are like I could be from ESPN to, ABC to wherever. And they're just there and you can just go up to them and say, hey, like, why is Don Lemon at the bar? Hi. Like, it's just very approachable. And I thought it was amazing to get real time feedback and support from people that you admire, from all across. I remember a friend of mine, she's a big sports girl. All the big legacy sports folks are just walking around and they're like, hey, it's such a great environment for journalists to be in, to get that support, people who understand what it's like in this business, especially if you're Black, to really to speak to you on another level that you don't always hear from folks who don't experience it,
Yeah.
that same lens. So I highly recommend it. It's a great time. And yeah, I mean, it's been you make long lasting friendships and you network so much, you learn to network better.
Yeah.
And it's good. The workshops are great. And I don't know, it's important to be a part of it's a great place to connect. All different types of platforms too. It's not just on air TV, there's print, there's like Huffington Post is there, there's all different types are there. So it also helps you connect to see, if I wanted to add this or if I wanted to pivot there, you could,
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
not only that, but Areta that I interviewed as well, she
Oh,
said as
yeah.
well too, like, yeah, she said the same thing. She said she loved it, had an amazing time, and she built a lot of connections as well there too.
You will. You will. You'll make lifelong friends in that way. And it's a great time. It's a great time. Yeah. It's great. Mm-hmm.
So as we gear to the end, let's talk about, first of all, what is something interesting about Jessica that maybe people may not know? Fun
Ooh,
fact, interesting, whatever it may be.
fun fact or interesting? Um, let's see. I don't know. What's interesting to me may not be interesting to you. Let's see. A fun fact or interesting. I'm a big time travel person. I'm a big
Clearly.
adventurer, major.
From the
Well, as
stories,
you
clearly. Exactly. Clearly.
so maybe that has something to do with it. I have an adventurous spirit, so maybe that made me a little less fearful because I'm
Okay.
already naturally like to go somewhere new, experience somewhere new. I'm that girl. If I'm in another country, I'm going off road and I want to go see
You
what's
like
really going
actually
on.
like being hands on, not just like just like going to see. Like you rather go like how should I say it? Like enhance the culture.
Yeah, I want to be a part of it. I want to really get a taste, like
Mm.
I want to really grasp what's going on. So that's a big part of me. Um, yeah, I think that's an interesting fact. I don't know. I play the piano. Is that an interesting fact?
That's not
I
okay.
salsa dance.
Oh wow.
Nobody
Okay.
knows
Okay.
that. Yeah, that's it for now. I can't
Okay.
think of
Okay.
anything that great.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. I just want to know. But also for people that are kind of aspiring into being like broadcasters or
Yeah.
journalists, whatever it may be, what's maybe some kind of advice that you would have for them?
Seek out mentors. That's a big one. Seek out
Hmm.
mentors, have more than one.
Hmm.
Um, get advice and reach out to people who are where you want to be. Don't be afraid to reach out to them who are way beyond where you are, where you want to be. And ask them, reach LinkedIn, whatever, and social media, whatever, and
Yeah.
just, reach out for your advice. You'd be surprised who you hear back from. I think it's really important to have multiple mentors. I don't know if I would know what to do if I didn't have, in my journey, if I didn't have people being like, absolutely not, Jess, or yes, not, you're staying on the right path, helping me, guide me, and get me to my goals. Um, Also, I think it's important to stop and smell the roses where you are. Do not, yes, have tunnel vision and go for your goals, but look up and enjoy the process while you're in it. Don't just rush to the finish line. Enjoy the process, the people you meet along the way, make the connections, spend the time. You'll get there. Still make the forward, steps, but look up. Make sure you're appreciating where you're going and how you're making progress. I think
Okay.
that's important. Mm-hmm. And have
And
balance.
oh, okay, balanced. Okay.
Have balance. Mm-hmm.
Mm, okay. And
Yeah.
last but not least, what do you feel like was your biggest adversity in your life to shape who you are today and how we view Jessica Brown as we see her on Channel 5 every day?
My biggest adversary. Hmm.
I think I may have a clue, but obviously this is yours, so
What's your
you tell me.
clue?
I feel like it's Missouri.
That my time in Missouri was my hardest time. It was so difficult. It was because I think it's a lot for someone who lives in their home state to just change a job. That's a lot for someone. I recognize that and I give a lot of credit from people just, they were somewhere for 7 years and then they changed it. That's a lot on someone. It's a lot to move somewhere, in general. I felt like I had a lot happening at once. So for
Mm,
me, the move to know somewhere I didn't know anyone, starting a new career for finally getting the opportunity, that's a lot of pressure. Um, and uh, and being, one of very few people who looked like me there, that was an added,
Oh, of
an
course,
added, an
especially
added,
especially
you
down
know,
south too.
it's just a lot at once. And then
Yeah.
going through the tornado experience was absolutely crazy, insane. Wrote it out in my bathtub. Um, so I definitely think that was my biggest hurdle to get over, but I will say getting over that hurdle changed me in the best way possible. I think that was like maybe my biggest, yeah, that was my hardest time. It was hard, but in the end, I feel like I'm really proud of myself for how I kind of came through it. I wouldn't change it. Would I change it? Wait a minute now. Would I choose to go through a tornado?
But see, here's
No.
the thing though. I look at
Yeah.
it like this: like if everything was so easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. And you know who told me this as well too? Steve Burton. Like
Uh-huh.
whenever, like exactly, like everything
That's right.
going well and stuff like that. It's like you appreciate more things. Like again, like especially what you went through too as well.
Yeah. No, 100%. I feel like I learned what I'm really made of
Oh,
during
100%.
that time. And I feel
100%.
like
Especially your
that,
parents who were
oh yeah.
questioning.
Oh yeah. I feel like it was an invaluable time period for me, and to
Yeah,
see I feel like I even can like saw my growth happening in real time. It was
yeah,
really amazing experience to, not a lot of things. There's always, I feel like there are pivotal moments in life. I feel like that was a big pivotal moment in my life. And
100%.
yes, I don't want to go through a tornado, but I wouldn't trade the changes that came following for anything. For
And
sure.
not
It's like
only
part
that
of
too,
me.
like you work in a space too that I know somebody else has like the same stories like you. You should know Josh Brigadier. I know that.
Love
And
that.
I had him here and he literally like you guys have like the same story. Like he traveled everywhere. But same thing, he wanted to be back on the Northeast and he still had that same determination and passion. Like he
Oh,
was going to make it back here and to be just as successful as you are as well too.
oh, he's the best. He is the best. Great storyteller.
Oh,
Great
100%.
storyteller. Yeah, yeah,
He has
yeah,
that
yeah.
voice. Definitely has that
He
voice.
does. Yeah, and good writing. Yeah, it's great.
Well, Jessica, hey, I just want to thank you again for sharing your time here at Access Premium. I really appreciate it.